Good day, my name is Crafty Summers. We're in my backyard, and today we're going to do a little bit of recycling. We're going to take a discarded cast iron pedestal sink here, and we're going to turn it into something that we can use in the backyard. And no, not for barbecuing. This one is for old Mother Nature. What we're going to do today is take this sink and turn it into a bird bath. And the steps we're going to go through, there'll be some different ones, but the thing about this type of project is you can improvise with about whatever you have or whatever you can find. A lot of times I take things from our house that we're not going to use and turn it into something that's useful outside. The first step is we have to get a supply of water to the sink here, and what I'm using is a very, very small recirculating pump, the type that you probably would have inside on a little fountain or a little bubbling apparatus, and mine is right here. This happens to be one that I found at a yard sale, so I'm going to use this. We take the pump and we have to hook it to the sink in some way, and the next thing I'm going to use is a piece of wash machine hose, and I have to thank my wife for this. I had to cut this off, and the thing about this type of hose, it's very, very strong. This came from the old Maytag, and it's never going to break. It took a while even to cut through it. So we're going to use that to hook the pump to the water line so we can control the faucet and faucet handle here, and then the water will come out of the faucet. So the next thing we have to do is we have to have a supply of water. Since we're outside, I'm going to use a small bucket of water here, and I'm just going to set it in the back of the sink just so it's close by. Ooh, it's cold. Okay, I'm going to take this piece of sump pump hose here and slide it onto the discharge tube at the bottom of the sink. And I use this one just because it fits. Now I'm going to take and cut it to length so that it fits into the bottom of the bucket here. And this is my drain, so when the water comes out of the sink, it's going to come back down into here. So now I'm going to take the pump and take this length of rubber hose, set it onto the pump, and put that into the water. And then I take the supply line to the sink, and I'm just simply going to slide these two together just so they're friction fit. Not too worried about leakage since we're outside. All right, those are probably the easiest setup to do with this type of pump. The next thing we're going to do is actually turn it on to see if it works. I guess as far as safety, you want to make sure your hands aren't too wet when you plug it in, or you might find it short. Here we go. We're going to plug the pump in, and it doesn't go. There it is. Okay, now since we have it operating, and actually I think the faucet, we can shut the water off or turn the water on, which is kind of neat. Now we're going to set it up so that the birds can use it. Actually, it's a little bit too deep for the birds. There's no reservoir, or there isn't any water in the sink for them to take a bath in. So what we need to do is build that up, and there's a couple different things we can do. We can put a plug in the sink, or we can take some objects that we've found and use those to try to create a bird bath. Okay, what I'm going to do is take some pots and pans that I picked up around the area on recycle days and try to add those to the sink until I get them set to the point where we can create a reservoir for the birds to take their bath in the morning. I have to thank my wife for the pots and pans. I'll put those back as soon as I get done. Okay, now we have a reservoir here that continuously fills up. It overflows and then runs back down the drain into the bucket, and it just continually circulates through. And if the bucket gets too low, we just simply add a little more water. And this is one way to build a bird bath. Okay, the next type we're going to do, we're going to still use the same sink, the same pump, everything is the same. We're going to take a piece of rubber hose, and if you know anything about washing machines, you know this is the discharge hose. Okay, I'm going to push this down into the drain, and then I'm going to cut this off here so that we have water that'll run down inside the hose make sure you're not going to cut yourself. Get nice and slow. The hose is below the level of the sink, so when the water fills up, it'll go down the hose and then recirculate just like before. So we're just taking a larger amount of water. Now, we still have a problem that this would be too deep for the birds to use, so we're going to take some pebbles and put inside here and fill up for the birds to stand on, and also take up a little bit of volume of water. And if you've ever been somewhere, you know that you always bring rocks home from wherever you've been. So this would be a good use for all those rocks. And you simply take this and start building it up until you get a design that you think would give the birds something to hop around on. You know, when you ever have a good bird bath, they always have something to hop on. Then they can get down in the water and do their little bathing and then jump back out and shake off. All right, now I've got the reservoir filled up, or the sink filled up. We have water running back down the hose, and it's exactly what we want. And now I'm simply going to place some rocks in here so the water isn't deep. It gives the birds a little bit of room to hop around on. And that's about what we do, and let that recirculate through. Occasionally you have to clean it out, flush it out, put a new bucket of water in, and then go from there. Okay, we're going to use the same setup as we had with the bird bath and the overflow tube, only now instead of using the faucet if you don't have one, we're going to go from a bird bath to a bird shower. So again, I'm going to take a piece of an old shower head that I picked up somewhere, and I really don't remember where, and pull a piece of plastic tubing, just stick it inside the pipe there until it fits pretty tight. Then I'm going to take a clamp and a piece of wood and clamp this to the back of the sink. Oops. And again, these are things that I just happen to have around the house that I found in different places, and so it's a good time to use them. Well, originally I get these things and I try to resell them once in a while. I think, well, I could make some money on that, but actually that didn't work, and so I thought, well, I can either scrap them out or make them into something. And I like to take something and change it a little bit and modify it so that it becomes something else. So I've got the top on here kind of loose, and then I'm going to take the pump here and stick that onto the hose using the same hose. And so now when the robins come in, they can take a shower instead of a bath.
Do they like the water?
Do
they really like the water?
Birds, I've noticed that birds, if you have a little bit of bubbling or a fountain, it tends to draw more birds than if you have just a regular flat pool of water. Moving water, I think, draws them in either by the sound or what, and then they usually they keep coming back once they've started. So there it is. You can even wash your hands. Remember, this was clean water when we started. So, well, I like the shower part better than the bath part. That I have. I just am constantly trying to make some different things and always adding something new or taking something out, and just keep modifying or changing it to see whatever will draw the most birds in. They always tend to like to have a little pool, and they like to have a little bit of movement in it. Yeah, this is my favorite one. This one is a different one than one we were looking at earlier. It's the one we've chosen to put in our yard, and it's basically on an old fountain that we had, and this runs down to our pond. We recirculate the water through. I've got an old clay tray that's the receptacle for the water, and it does overflow. And we also wrap here in front, put a little piece of carpet in here, and that's for butterflies and smaller insects to land on and refresh themselves. And also we still have the rocks. Sometimes I put too many and sometimes I don't have enough, so that's a matter of choice. Okay, and that's the way the fountain works. And oh, just a minute here. Yeah, Mom. Yeah. I can't talk right now. I'm on a TV show, but it's just channel 20. So I'll call you back later. Okay. Yeah. 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 I put clean ones on this morning. Okay. Bye bye.